Need to talk to non-emergency, please. Trespassing. Trespasser. Yes, trespasser. 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 I'm calling about a trespasser. I'm calling about a trespasser. I'm talking about a trespasser. Trespasser. Yes. Trespasser. Yes, trespasser. 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 Yes, hi. My name is Kevin Duclairon. I just tried to call you non-emergency, and your machine there will not take my call. It just kept on saying, "Would you please tell me what you're calling about, and I will help you." And I told them the issue was trespasser. It's not an emergency; it's a non-emergency. The name is Kevin Duclairon, and I'm calling from the Rosewood apartment. It's the building on 4810 Northeast Sandy Boulevard. I have a trespasser situation. It's not an emergency. I just wanted to talk to somebody at non-emergency to see if they can give me some pointers on how to deal with these people here. I have um, earlier tonight. I was sitting next to my window and I blacked out. I'm not sure if I was gassed asleep or if it was just me because I'm paused. Somebody opened my window and pierced my shoulder, my right shoulder. I got up and I was watching Dateline, and I fell back asleep again, and when I woke up, I was bashed in the head several times. I was hit on the right side of the head because my body is the right side of my body is to the window where I'm at. Um, in the past, I've complained about uh, a tenant that's in the back. His name is Harcel, blonde haired 70-year-old guy. He's very violent. I've reported him to you guys downtown several times. I think he might be representing a police officer at the East Precinct. This guy has a real hang up and mocks and ridicules me. Um, for the last year that I've been here. And I think this is coming up on the 1 year anniversary. And it seems like they're terrorizing me to try to remove me out of the unit. It's like I feel like I'm being forced to leave the unit with physical assault, venomous snakes. Uh, my my unit here, where I'm sitting next to the window, there is a heater, and inside of the heater I suspect that there is some sort of a serpent inside of the heater. Well, I went to bed about 12 o'clock. I woke up at 2:30 to the sound of hissing. I didn't go near the heater because the last time I turned on the heater when it was cold, there were foam flakes coming out of the heater. I took some of the foam flakes and I brought it to your front desk and I showed it to Amy, and I told her that whatever the animal is on the inside. They're trying to eat their way out of the heater. I'm not exactly sure how it got in there, who put it in there, how big it is, but for like 3 days, like Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, it kept on eating, and you can hear it moving inside. And when I turn on the heat, it's sort of like confetti, a bunch of little pieces of foam, white foam flakes falling all over the place. I called the woman who signed the leasing agreement from Central City Concern. Her name is Tamika Hill, and left her a message. I called Jason Stutzman, the manager, and left him a message. On when I came back from from working out the other day, and I thought that it was still in there. There was no movement, and it was perfectly quiet. And then all of a sudden, again last night, I felt the animal back in there again. So I have a feeling like somebody's playing with my head, and they're playing with my situation here. And it's like they're trying to force me to leave, and they don't want to get in my face and say leave. But everything that they're doing, the bashing, the piercing, um, yeah, it's like they came in here while I was asleep and stuck a needle in my elbow, my fingers. The people that I'm dealing with are two people. I'm dealing with Gabriel Franklin, a former guardian, and John MacArthur, a former pastor that was in my life. And he, both of them are in the background, and my suspicious, my because they're old, they're elderly. My suspicion is that Harcel, who is back there, like I said, he represents the police. He's basically taking both of their positions, and he's judging me on their behalf. That's my suspicion. I've never seen him come in here. I've never caught him coming here, and so I'm kind of at my wits' end here. Your Amy at the desk gave me the fair housing phone number 503-223-8197 to call, and also animal control at 503-988-7387. When I did call animal control last time, they didn't do anything about it. Fair housing, I haven't called yet. The case number that she had given me was 24-110703. What am I supposed to do here? Because I don't have anything concrete. I don't have a snake in my hand, and I haven't caught a person. And this is, I feel like this is what they're doing to make me lose the unit or leave the unit. And I haven't done anything to anybody. I don't have a relationship with anyone. What do I do now? How do I deal with this? Because it's continuous.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I would eventually contact that housing authority that Amy gave you. As well, have you thought about installing cameras into your apartments? That way you could get, some sort of proof about the various goings on.
No, no, I've never thought about it, nor do I know if I can afford it.
There are options if you look on Amazon. They're, something like $10. They're not going to be the most high definition cameras, of course, but they might just be something you present to, law or legal officials or law enforcement officials. Um, as far as like actually getting in contact with my non-emergency line, um, usually for about an hour and a half after bar close, which is approximately 2:30 p.m. Sometimes up to 2 hours, just because you have a lot of drunks who are. Well, I can't get into the specifics of it on any given night, but they're getting into fights, they're causing a ruckus, they're committing crimes. Our sometimes a non-emergency line can be so overwhelmed with calls that it basically is unable to function correctly. Um, so that might be what you're running into right now. Um, you could try again in, oh, I don't know, let's say about an hour. Um, as far as the snakes, yeah, it's the animal controller, or you could just you might have to cross reference with your building management, but just set up like some sort of pest control, some sort of like exterminator to come in and check your vents, check your walls, wherever you think those serpents might be. As far as the elderly, people who are in the representative, unfortunately, I don't have really any advice for that specifically. That is just something you'd have to talk to an officer about. Is there anything I missed?
Um, not sure. No, pretty much. I've spoken to management. Management does not. Uh, I've been here for since May of last year. They have not um, even touched the issue once. I don't think. Part of me feels like it seems like they'd rather the snake stay here and I go. I sort of feel like that's the kind of that's what I'm dealing with because they're not. It feels like the staff. We don't have a whole lot of Africans living here, and so part of me is saying, you know what, I don't think they want you here in the building because this is an ongoing thing. And the problem is that in other buildings that I've lived, not with Central City Concern, it's usually the terrorizing without the snakes. Now, for the first year, it is with the snake. and I don't have anything here like a gun or a long machete to kill the animal with. And so I don't. I suspect, and as I've been told, is that they have one in my suitcase. I have a black suitcase here, so they have one in my suitcase and one in the heater. I don't. And when I took pictures on Sunday, I think it was the outside of the on the outside of the unit in the back, you can literally pop out the covering of the heater and probably put the animal from the back. So I'm not sure if the police department, not out of your precinct, but out of the East precinct, is monitoring the animal, feeding the animal, exchanging the animal. I came in here and it stunk like a dead animal because I'm not feeding it, and excuse me, I'm not taking care of it. So I don't know, so whoever's putting it in the heater is, I think they're monitoring the animal through the outside, and they have a way probably to pop the heater, and put it in into the put it into the heater and then take it out of the heater, feed the animal whatever it is that they're doing with it, because I don't have any control over any of this. I'll try to call Fair Housing and see what they suggest. Non-emergency, I can call them. I mean, now that I've spoken to you, I mean, if I do call non-emergency again, it's to put it on the record. It's to put it on the recording in case something happens. As far as the elderly are concerned, the Haitian woman was a former guardian. We had a fallout back in '83 and in '85, and the pastor, I had a fallout with him in '99. 98 and 99. 98, he asked me to leave. I left his church because they were persecuting me like they're doing now. And then in 99, they gave me a 4-page letter asking me not to associate. So,
Oh,
so this is an ongoing offense between him and I. These people are older and they want me back in the country that I was born in, and they don't want me here. Yesterday, I'm a Haitian Cuban, so automatically that puts me as an outcast of all the churches. When I go to the churches, it's the offense with these two people, Gabriel Franklin from New York State and John MacArthur from California. The offense continues in the churches when I go there on Sunday morning because they've ruined my reputation, and it also continues in pretty much all the other establishments like the library. I went to the library yesterday to use a computer. They took control over the computer number 7 at the library, and they would not release the computer. I was trying to do an article on reputation and winter. What does winter and reputation have in common? Basically, they're both destructive. Well, they wouldn't allow me to take control over the computer. They took control over it, and I couldn't even finish the article. So, anything that I do to move forward or to come back up, um, they're giving me pain, and they want to control my environment. They want to control my body. They want to control my sex life. They want to control my employment income. They want to control everything. On what was this, at Central City Concern, they have an article that says homes, health, and jobs, and they gave me the apartment, but and now trying to get the job, it's almost like I'm dealing with the devil here. And they're switching staffs. I'm not exactly sure, they're not being straightforward, and I'm thinking I don't have another community that's going to help me. If it's not Central City Concern, I'm going to have to start from scratch all over again. I'm setting up appointments, they're calling me back and saying that the appointment, you know y- we need an appointment. I'm like, well, I thought we had one already set. So it's like MacArthur is controlling, he's of the devil, and the people that I'm dealing with, they keep removing the church and bringing the devil's people into my life, and everything that they're doing is satanically grounded and rooted. And I'm like, okay, I'm a Christian man. Why am I being persecuted by the devil's people? Church, I'm being persecuted by the devil's people. Housing, I'm being persecuted by the devil's people. Employment, it seems like they're switching. They're making all of these changes, and it's almost like they're forever bringing the satanic community in my face. And the call that I'm putting in right now, it goes back to even television. While I'm watching, they're controlling the television from the back, the studios. You understand what I'm saying? It's almost like they've come. I didn't know Satan and what he was doing. Now he's all over me. Okay, he's all over me, and I mean wherever I go, it's either his snake or his spirit. And I'm looking at the people's faces, and I'm seeing, and I'm looking at the devil himself. And it's like I don't understand this. Why do I need? I thought we had a separation between church and state. I thought we had a division. Um, where we don't have to deal with those people, but now they're all over me and I'm being judged, and my suspicion is that here at Central City Concern, the reason why I'm not getting any response from the staff is probably because some of these people are of the devil spirit, and the reason why I can't move forward into the church is because these people are coming into the church through the back door, and they're presenting themselves as the pastors and the elders in the churches, but they're of the devil's spirit, sort of like Judas Iscariot coming into the meeting and then betraying Christ behind his back, which leads to the crucifixion, which is what we celebrate as Easter. The crucifixion and resurrection, which is April of next month. Okay, well, I sort of feel like this is what they're doing to me, and it's across the board. As a foreigner, how do I fight this? Because I'm getting my ass kicked here. I could call, I could call non-emergency, I could call fair housing, and deal with the exterminator and pest control. But even those people, I don't think are going to respond because if it's coming from the satanic community that's in Portland, Oregon, you understand what I'm saying? And it's not just Central City Concern; it's all of the communities. Wherever I go, there they are, and it's like it's either the snake spirit, it's either the snake in the bag, or it's the satanic spirit that's in these people. And it's like there's no running. You understand what I'm saying? There's no running, there's no hiding. It's in the police department. I'm talking to police officers and they're hissing in my face. Or I gives police officers reports and they do nothing with the report. It's even in the police department where I'm talking to officers and they're lunging at me or hissing at me as I'm talking to them, and I'm going, well, whatever happened to protect and to serve? And even Amy, when I spoke to her, she said, well, why don't you go to IPR, independent police review? And I go, well, IPR forbade me to file reports against police officers who refuse to take the cases seriously because they put themselves under John MacArthur, the hermaphrodite, or Gabriel Franklin, the hermaphrodite. So what do I do now? Are you still there? Are you still there? Front desk. Justice Center Bureau. I can hear you, but you're not responding.
Oh, I'm sorry, there was a cutoff with the phone. Could you repeat your last sentence?
Yeah, I was just saying, did you hear what I said?
Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't have like a good concrete, how to put this, overall maximized solution for you at the moment. This seems like a fairly, as you can tell, complicated situation.
Well, they're making
Um,
it complicated. They're purposely making it complicated because it's almost like they're asking me, do you mind if we kill you? Yes, I mind you killing me. Well, do you mind if we kill you and let you go? Well, yes, I do mind you killing me and letting me go. Well, do you mind if we take your money? Yes, I mind you taking my money. Well, do you mind if we give you a black woman? Yes, I mind you giving me a black woman. Yeah, that's sort of like what I'm dealing with here. They're asking me can we hurt you? No, you can't hurt me. Well, we want you to accept death as a solution to this whole thing. Well, I don't want death as a solution to this whole thing. I sort of feel like that's the conversation that I'm having with the devil here through these people. I feel like I'm talking to Satan through these people who are in his community. And that's the reason why for all the years that I've come to the Justice Center, um, I don't feel like I'm dealing with God. I feel like I'm dealing with the devil and those people who serve him in uniform, outside of the uniform, in housing, outside of housing, in employment, outside of employment. And it's like, and if you don't give him an answer, or if you don't stay tuned, then he comes out. And when he comes out, it's everything that I described to you to basically get your attention.
I see. Well, if it's Satanists who are the issue, have you consulted the church, any church?
It was in the church where it began. John Fullerton
Which
MacArthur is of the devil. The man will
John
not
Church?
stop. What? I'm sorry?
Which denomination? Which
He's
Episcopalian? Catholic?
non-denominational. He's a major figure. He's a pastor teacher, but like I've said, he's a hermaphrodite. I didn't know that. It was the information was given to me. I could not I mean, I've never picked up the phone to call Grace Community Church to confirm whether the facts are true, whether that information is true. But all I know is that he sits in the background and he hisses on the intercom like this. That's his voice. I hear him all the time. He hisses. When I was working for Grace Community Church property as a janitor and as a security guard, he had come on the intercom and he had come out like that with his voice. So, but when I woke up at 2:28, 2:30 this morning, I heard the hissing again, but it didn't sound like his voice. It sounded like the real deal, the snake itself. This man has been persecuting me all the time since 1996 when I gave the master's seminary the application to be a graduate to go into the clergy. Okay, these people are I don't understand. They're sort of like double-minded. Okay, they're double-minded. I didn't turn away from the faith. I didn't turn away from the religion itself. I didn't turn away from God or the Bible, but these people have it in to hurt and to hit and to do me harm. It's like every time I talk to this man, it's like behind him is the devil, not God. So this is the reason why I'm calling you this morning, because I'm confused here. I'm like, how do I deal with this?
Unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you. Have you tried a denominational church? Which,
Well,
not even to necessarily fix the issue, just to maybe get some insight.
well, I
Because
went
I,
to
as a representative of a, more or less secular entity, I don't really have anything I can give you for this. But if this is almost like basically a spiritual issue, have you tried consulting other spiritualities to see what they could recommend?
I've spoken to Mosaic. They had a guy there working as a youth minister. I spoken to him. He prayed and then just went back into the building and never spoke to me about it again. I've tried talking to different churches when I first got here 13 years ago. I nobody is seems to want to respond to this because it's not a direct link. In other words, those people are not coming out of the back. They come in, they're in the back door of every church that I go to, anywhere that I go to, even the police department. If I left here right now, caught the train, come to where you're at, I would walk in through the front door. They would come in through the back door, and they would come out on the intercom. And so I'm dealing with these people that have hidden themselves in the back, and they will not come to the front. You understand? And when I'm talking to them, I don't feel like I'm talking just to them. I sort of feel like there's an evil entity behind them that I'm dealing with. And I don't think that it's God. I think it's the devil, because there's too much violence against me and there's too much hatred against me. Right? There's violence, there's hatred. Unless I'm dealing with the white knights of the Ku Klux Klan, and don't know that that's what the issue is. I don't know. Maybe perhaps the issue is slavery, because Africans have been dealing with the issue for ages in this country. And if it's the white knights of the Klan that I'm dealing with, then they're not showing their hood. They're just showing their hate. And every time I move into a housing facility, they come out with their hatred and their hits, and now they've added the snake to it.
This is being tough. Unfortunately, since I am a representative in this case of the Puerto Police Bureau, I wouldn't really have, and since you said they're everywhere within the government entities, I wouldn't really have a recommendation for what you should approach or how you should approach this. Um, I think I would highly recommend, at the very least, getting like a cheap security camera.
Yeah, not
Um,
No, they're not gonna come when I'm here. They're not gonna, even if I did, they'd probably erase it. Because when I talked to management here, when Dolly was here, and I asked her to check the camera to see who was coming in through the window or the door, she never had any footages. So it's almost like I'm being painted as some crazy lunatic, and I'm not a lunatic. I know what I'm saying. I mean, I know somebody's bashed me in the head, somebody's pierced my shoulders, somebody's piercing my elbows, somebody's piercing my thumb. So somebody's they're being protected because they're older, and Gabriel is basically Gabriel is being escorted as a Haitian woman who has betrayed and who has turned. I think in past time I don't know, maybe it's Windsor that's the issue, you know. Those people, the British who still has the tendency to take control over African countries, tribes, nations, I don't know, people, you know, they feel that they have some sort of superior white supremacy. They have some superior nature and they can do whatever they want. But it's difficult for one man to fight that entire system that's been here all these years. I mean, MacArthur Master Seminary and Grace Community Church has, I mean, they've taken a huge step in putting me out to begin with under false accusation of homosexuality. And then on top of that, they switched it from that to subordination, slavery, and everything else that the world is dealing with out here when you go by the label African. Whatever the label African brings, that's what they're trying to force those shoes on my feet. You know, the African American community that's out there, when they it's like they're deliberately literally doing it on purpose, you know, and everything that they're doing. So if I push aside the issue of Satan on the spiritual side and I go back, it's American history where Africans are treated like they're garbage. You know, they don't have a say so in their own lives. Doors are closed for them in housing, doors are closed for them in apartments, doors are closed for, it's very subtle. So if I'm not dealing with the spiritual issue, then I'm back to the African side where you're a nigger and you're not an equal and you're not allowed to lead. You know, I mean, I'm sitting at the library yesterday and I'm cut down by a voice that says you're not the lead. And I'm saying, well, are you seriously going to do this here in the library? And then they came out with a white woman who says, oh, you know, she's talking to me indirectly saying, you know, thank you, like I'm her subordinate. And I says, you know, no, do it yourself and get a dildo. So, you know, I'm dealing with white women with that mentality and Hispanic women with that mentality. Um, you know, when you push aside the whole religious issue of Satanism, you're dealing with white supremacy. They went right back to, you know what I'm saying? We're right back to that. The control, the manipulation. It's almost like every white community goes after the one community to subject them and to reduce them and to put them under.
I gotta ask, man, is there anyone you do trust?
No, I can't. This is the period of my life where they have removed everybody that I knew in California, everybody that I knew in New York State, everybody that I knew in my own country, Port-au-Prince. Both of my parents are dead. My brothers and sisters have turned. The government has turned. It's almost like it's a deliberate hit. You know, it's one of those, and you know, this is where you're supposed to either try to commit suicide. When MacArthur dealt with another African on this issue, his name was Kenneth McNally. Apparently the man committed suicide. You know, I'm not sure. I think he put a gun to his head, probably because they were snaking him like they're doing to me here. And so this, like I said, you know, this is probably the United Clan of America or the white one of those groups, you know, the backwoods groups that just goes there with the African people. And there is no, you know, it's either you submit and fall under and give them control over your body, your life, your sexuality, your income, where you worship. And if you go there to worship, you can't be a part and join in. And you know, you don't have an opinion. Uh, you know, you it's sort of like go in there with your mouth taped and yes sir, yes master, and no master. That's why they're called the master seminary. You know, perhaps the underlying message of the master seminary is the white master seminary, not for black masters, because black masters doesn't exist. It's always white masters. Maybe that's the reason why the community call themselves the master seminary, because it's white master seminary. You know, MacArthur comes from the south, southern South Carolina. the East Coast, South Carolina, North Carolina, those that's where he's from, Bob Jones University, and the whole Ku Klux Klan over there from the East. When he came out here, has been dealt with him on whatever the issue was, and he has not stopped coming out on the students of the Master Seminary year after year, keeping them from graduating. Some of them forcing them to leave the school. Others of them, I don't know if it's because he's a hermaphrodite or if he's an American Klansman or if he's a Satanist. I don't know. They didn't give us the information when we put it in an application. We don't foresee the future as being us coming down. We're thinking graduation, marriage, family, full time ministry, and it's no graduation, no marriage, homosexuality instead of family, and sicknesses, diseases, imprisonment, sort of like they're trying to give us back the life that Paul was living, but not in the context of where God is involved, but in the context where you're under the coup. You're constantly being hit by these people. Some make it and others don't. I'm one of those people. They're saying you're not allowed to make it because you're not a European lead. You're not a white lead. You're not a British lead. You're not from the the European Union. Therefore, you can't have this certificate and this signature, and you can't have, or it's not like they have anything, you know they're doing any more than what I've done with the Bible. So then what the heck is this? Why can't they just let me finish my time in my life and get on? It's like they got control over Gabriel and they got control over me.
Wow, that is extremely complicated. Unfortunately, I have nothing familiar with enough of that. That seems too, well, for lack of a better term, just out of my expertise.
Then what is the purpose of the Justice Center? What is the purpose of the police department? I mean, how many of
So,
those people how many of those people upstairs are dealing with what I'm saying here and they turn to the gun? You understand what I'm saying? They turn to the gun to deal with, what I'm saying? It's like you upstairs you have 8 floors of prisoners. And these people, if I responded the way the Americans have responded, I'd be in jail upstairs. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of me talking to you, I could have gone and bought a gun and had a shootout with whoever and taken some lives because of how many times I've been hit, how many times I've reported it to police, how many times I've preached it in front of the Justice Center or at the Pioneer Square Park, and which it resolves absolutely nothing. And I'm so sorry that this is what your African Americans and foreigners are dealing with in this country, that these people have not changed their course. The European settlers have not changed their course. I am so sorry that this is what we foreigners, immigration gives us a naturalization certificate, but then, this is how they take it away by the atrocity of continuously persecuting someone because they're not of the same race, they're not of the same um, mentality, and so people are stuck dealing with this. I understand. I'll let you go. I've been talking to you for a bit now, and I appreciate the fact that you're giving me the time or day. But that's really unfortunate that this is what people are still dealing with under the Trump administration. I came under the Reagan administration, and all of the administrations afterwards have been nothing but a hit. And I didn't know they were going to show me their true colors. But in any case, thank you for the time. And on that note, since I mean, you can only do so much at the front desk and give me so much information, but that is sad. That is sad and that is terrible. If you want to jot all of this down, the case number that Amy gave me was 24-110703. I guess you can just say that it's a continuation of it. Or there is the Officer Harrison Alterman, number 63328. That's his badge number. And the case number that he had given me back in January 13th for trespassing, rape, and physical assault, which is originally what I called you for, which is a violation of Oregon ORS 163.375, ORS 164.255. You can put it under the case 25-10775. So either one of those two cases, I guess you can use um, to make a note in. So you can either give it to Officer Alterman or you can give it to the other case number, which was given to me by Amanda. I'll run the situation by Rentwell and Fair Housing and see if they know how to deal with people being dealt with this way. Thank you for the time, and I'll let you go.
Have a great day, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Yes, hi, good morning. My name is Kevin Duclairon. It is about 4 a.m., and I am calling you because I am dealing with a housing issue here, trespassing, people that are coming into my unit, and this is an ongoing thing with two families, and I'm not exactly sure how to deal with it because I've already run it by the police department and management, but these people continue to trespass and hit, and they've even brought in a snake in the situation, and I'm not sure how to respond uh, to deal with it. I don't know if you deal with rent well. Maybe somebody can give me a call at 503-572-7098. The last name is Duclairon, Duclairon, KED at hotmail.com. You can send me an email there if there's paperwork that I need to fill out. I just spoke to the police department, to their justice center, the front desk, and um, they gave me a case number when I had brought up the issue. Case number 25-10775, and again another case number 24-110703. I'm not sure how to bring these people out of the back to deal with whatever the issue is that they have against me, but they will not stop trespassing into my unit, gassing me to sleep, bashing me in the head, piercing me with needles, that sort of thing, putting stool hardener in my food. I've run all of that by management, but these people will not stop. So I'm hoping that maybe somebody on your level could give me some sort of pointer on how to deal with these people. I've been in this unit here at the Rosewood apartment, the 4810 Northeast Sandy Boulevard location. I'm in Unit 115. And I don't know who's doing this. I don't know why they're doing this. My hunch is it's MacArthur and Franklin and others that are assisting them. Why? I'm not sure. Um, Somebody give me a call as to what to do with this, where it goes, because I don't want to end up moving back out into the streets again. Because I was homeless for 8 years and I just got here May of 2024. I don't want to, and it's coming up to that anniversary, and I don't want to end up in the streets again. So it seems like everything that they're doing is to have me removed, um, sort of like being forced to leave the unit with physical assaults, the venomous snakes, and on and on and on. So if somebody could give me a call, email, something, any kind of response, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Well, what do you want to know? That's what's going on here now on Thursday, um, March 27th, 2025. So nothing has changed. Police, fair housing, um, nothing has changed. And everybody's going in the opposite direction of the leasing agreement and the opposite direction of the word of God. And it's almost like I'm uh, being dealt with. Um, this is how they're dealing with me. American history, right? American history and how Africans were dealt with on the issue of slavery. And unbeliever, people who don't believe in God's Son, Christ. Next month, we're going to be dealing with um, Easter, right? We're going to be dealing with that. Um, so this is what we're dealing with here. I'm this way. They're this way with American history and everything that I've just described and everything that you just heard. It's sort of like a combination. The enemy here is Satan and the enemy here is settlers, right? So the enemy for the church is Satan, and for the enemy for the African are the settlers, the clan. The white supremacists in African history, and being from Haiti, I'm an offender, to these people for being who I am and what I look like. And I said to God, what is to be my response? It's physical violence against my body, that you gave me. I cannot change the texture of my hair. I cannot change the color of my genital, my cock. I cannot change the color of my skin. What are you asking of me, Lord? This is my conclusion here. They took control over the computer yesterday when I was using it, and refused to allow me to complete the article that I was writing. And the title of the article was um, Reputation and Winter and Reputation. What is what do they have in common? They will not stop terrorizing me at night here. As if I can change my outer appearance of their issue or life problems that you have put on their plates. Why am I to blame um, for this? This was my conclusion at 2:55 a.m. this morning. It's like I don't understand this. Who hit me here? Who is hitting me? Why am I being hit? Why was I hit twice when I was watching television yesterday? What caused me to black out? Was it the feces in my body, or was it sleeping gas? I'm not sure. Why is it that I didn't wake up when the window was popped open, when somebody bashed me in the head? How come I stayed asleep? Why was my left calf pierced and my left thigh left in pain this morning, right before I woke up? Um, you know, you ask these questions. It's like, who the heck is doing this? Is this the doing of the Robert Harcel, Unit 117, who represents the police department, or is it Grace Community Church's clan? Grace just had the Master Seminary just had a shepherd's conference. Okay, they just had. Hold on a second. We're back. Okay, the Master Seminary just had a shepherd's conference. On Sunday I went to East Hill Church, and this on Sunday I went to East Hill Church. This is the community here. This is the community when you first become a member, or actually when you first start attending, they give you this as a gift. And I went to their church, and they had this, right? They had this here as their on in their hallway. You can pick it up yourself. This says here who God is, and they tell you love, good, always with me, absolute truth, and compassionate. This is the little card that they have here. You can see this is who God is. They're describing God. So part of them, whoever's in there, is of God. And in the back, hold on, I have to undo this so you can see. So this is who they are, right? This is really bizarre. I didn't know I was going to do this morning. I didn't know I was going to be driven to this. The Lord had asked for me not to do any more videos, and for me not to go out there and preach the gospel, do nothing. Okay, I said, okay, I won't do anything. but I didn't know I had taken two of these. I thought I only took one, but it looks like I had taken two. And then in the back of it is who I am. So they have who God is, and you can see here who God is and who I am. And it says, who I am without blame. I am strong. I am forgiven. I am complete. I am qualified. So you can see here two cards. I didn't mean to do this. I didn't know I had done this. I thought I only took one, but now I'm looking at it. There's two. So in the front, on one side, it says who God is, which is love. First John 4:16. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. Right. So who God is. You can see it right there. And then it says, who is God? God is good. James 1:17, which says, every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. Who God is, always with me. Matthew 28:20, right? It says, surely I am with you always to the end, to the very end of the age. Um, who God is, absolute truth. You are truly my disciples if you keep obeying my teachings, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And who God is, compassionate, coming from Exodus 34:6, which is at the bottom here, compassionate. Um, it says Exodus 34:6-7, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands, and forgiving wickedness, rebellion, and sin. Now, when you flip the card, right? When you flip the card, who I am, Ephesians 1:4, I am without blame, for he chose us in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight. That, right? Again, who I am strong, Ephesians 6:10. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. That's the next one. The third one is who I am forgiven, Ephesians 1:7. In him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins in accordance with the riches of God's grace. Number four, who I am complete, Colossians 2:10. In Christ you have been brought to fullness. He is the head over every power and authority. And then lastly, who I am qualified, according to Colossians 1:12, which is on the bottom here. I am qualified. Um, and giving joyful thanks to the Father who has qualified you to share in the inheritance of his holy people in the kingdom of light. So I got this from them on Sunday. Um, I'm really jumpy. I apologize because I didn't know if I'm dealing with that. That's how it is in the house. You know, you hear it and you it's like, whoa, what is that? All it was my my tape. I had put it in there so quickly that it needed to sort of like shift. But anyway, and they gave me, and I also took this, what is salvation? For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. John 3:16. Acknowledgement, acceptance, agreement, right? Right here. So this is what I ended up taking. What is baptism? This is for people to deal with at this church here, East Hill. So like I said, I didn't know I was going to do this morning, but um, I went there on Sunday, and we had to pair up with the people around us, and I think the question that they were dealing with is to reach out, right? To reach out to your neighbor and to do outreach across, because their pastor, his name is Keith Jenkins, and he went to Rwanda to reach out to some people, over there. So I don't really know. I don't know the pastoral staff. I don't have a relationship with those people. I don't know them as Christians. I don't know them as friends. I mean, since I've been dealing with MacArthur for the last God knows how long, this is what I've been dealing with. This is where I'm at with this community here, Central City Concern, and they've helped me with homes. I'm with Multnomah Clinic, and now this is I'm dealing with this. This is them here, and this is the person that has that has that is taking me through orientation, and I have to deal with her on intake on Friday, and I think there's two of them in the community, and so that's where I'm at here. So at the Rosewood, So they help you get housing, and then they also, give you all sorts of opportunities to look for jobs and to, be pulled out of homelessness. So I took them because I didn't have any other way of dealing with the issue. MacArthur would not stop. Every time I went into housing, MacArthur would hit, and it's like, how do you go into housing and stay in housing, right? Go into housing and stay in housing and not deal with the the homelessness that's out there, and everything that they were doing was to put me back out into the world. You pull people out. I think the whole purpose of this community here, Central City Concern, is to pull people out, and to help the homeless, help the sick, and help the jobless to get back on their feet again. But I sort of felt like every time I tried it for the last 25 years, they put me right back into the world, right back, down to, they'd increase the sickness, they'd increase, uh, the joblessness. I haven't worked since 2017. Why? Because of these people here. Now, this is a sign that I had done, and I put the sign right here, right? I put the sign directly behind me, and it says here, "Attention, all you shepherds," right? Uh, Conference leaders. And the passage that I have here is 1 Peter 5, 1 through 8, right? 1 Peter 5, 1 through 8. And you know what that passage says. And it's Peter talking to the New Testament church. And Peter says this, Peter, 1 Peter 5, 1 through 8 says, "I exhort the elders among you as your fellow elder and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, and a partaker also of the glory that is to be revealed. Shepherd the flock of God among you, exercising oversight, not under compulsion, but voluntarily, according to um, according to the will of God, and not for sordid gain, but with eagerness, nor yet as lording it over those allotted to your charge, but proving to be examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the unfading crown of glory. You younger men, likewise, be subject to your elders, and um, all all of you all of you clothe yourself with humility toward one another, for God is opposed to the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Humble yourselves therefore under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you at the proper time, casting all your anxiety upon him, because he cares for you. Be of sober spirit, be on the alert. Your adversary the devil prowls about like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. So I'm dealing with the adversary, coming out of First Peter here, right? This is the New American Standard Bible. I just read to you, chapter 5, the first 8 verses, and this is what I carry with me around the, unit here, in case I run into one of them, one of them. And I pray to God, they're here. I pray to God that, I don't ever, because I don't want it. That's not why I moved in. But this is what was on this here, the Shepherds Conference, leaders, and the question that I have here on this, when I did this last year, when I first moved in here, um, it's, where has John MacArthur, been for the last 28 years dealing with me, right? It didn't take 28 years to deal with Kenneth McNally, but in dealing, Kenneth committed suicide, I guess, after a couple of years. MacArthur was accused of clergy malpractice. Uh, I don't know what clergy malpractice is. I guess it's what he's doing to me here now. I don't know where he and his men are. But in any case, and doing what to whom, why, I'm not sure, right? Where has John MacArthur been for the last 25 years? Doing what to whom and why? I mean, he must have a reason for this. I don't know if this goes back to, um, Bob Jones University, right? And I wrote on this sign here, where is Bob Jones? Where's, Bob Jones University? How come BJU is not keeping track of John MacArthur any longer? You read Matthew 10. In Matthew 10, you have the whole, um, Jesus sending the disciples out. I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolf. Matthew 10 here. Let me read it real quickly here. I have to hurry up because, we're coming to the hour, and I don't want to do a full hour video here. Like I said, I didn't know this was going to happen this morning. When I went to bed last night, I had no intention whatsoever to come back in here. It says, having summoned his disciples, he gave them authority over unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal every kind of disease and every kind of sickness. And then he gives them the name of the 12. And, um, you know, and he tells them to heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the leper, cast out demons. Freely you receive, freely you give. Unfortunately, we have the master seminary. We're sent out, but we don't, we don't heal the sick, we don't raise the dead, we don't cleanse the leper, we don't cast out demons. Um, Freely we have received, yes, and freely we give. And the whole passage. There's 42 passages, scriptures here. Um, and he says that the hairs of your head are numbered. You shall confess me before everyone, therefore, who confesses me before men, I will also confess him before my Father who is in heaven. And whoever shall deny me before men, I will also deny him before my Father who is in heaven, and so on and so forth. So there's a whole huge passage of scripture, it goes back to the leadership of the Shepherds Conference, those that are embraced by John and accepted by John, and those that are rejected. I'm a reject. Okay, I couldn't be any more rejected. I call this guy a false teacher because of the rejection. First Timothy, and First Timothy and Second Timothy. Titus, Paul, telling Timothy that I think Paul says to Timothy, you followed my teaching, you followed my preaching, you followed. In this case, is you don't follow my preaching, you don't follow my teaching, you don't follow my family, stay away from my family, you're a fag, you stay away from me. And I'm like, well, I thought God forgave. Such were some of you. But they wrote me a 4-page letter asking me to get off their property, have nothing to do with us. And I'm going, such were some of you. Um, I don't know what's going on, but whether it's housing, health, jobs, church leadership, reject, 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 reject. Go away. We don't want nothing to do with you. And now here we have 2025, proclaiming Christ to the ends of the earth. Right? Shepherds Conference 2025, March 5th through 7th. I wasn't invited. I have missed 25 of these Shepherds Conference. And what have I been doing out here? I can probably give you a police report, 25 police reports, right? Um, for the 25 years that I've been out here dealing, and you could put it right here. So while they're doing, while they're doing their shepherds conferencing, I'm doing police reporting, right? And it's the same, exactly what you saw me reading in Matthew 10, right? Dealing with evil, Matthew 10, First Timothy, Titus, Peter, Satan, everything you heard for the first 15 minutes of this video, and it's like these are the people. It says, sit under the preaching of faithful expositors and learn from experienced leaders and scholars in breakout sessions. Okay, um, this is their advertisement. I got it online. And how can I not have this? Because the leader, the man himself, who is advertising this and who stands for all of this, is in the background judging me. And I'm thinking, well, what exactly is this? Is it that this man wants from me? Does he want me to deny the faith? Does he want me to deny God and does he want me to reject the Son and the Father? I went and I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who he is. I don't know where he's at. I'm not interested in the man himself, him right here. I found when I pulled up the site, um, at the TMS, this is what came with it. I don't know. I don't know if he's the president, the youth president, or if he's one of the administrators of one of the pastors. But Master Seminary, this is their doing, and this was their welcome sign for those who went. I wasn't allowed to go. I wasn't invited to go. I mean, I could have probably um, gone. But unfortunately, you see how it says welcome here? It says welcome here. Unfortunately, I'm not welcome. So this is so the flip side of of this here. This is the other side. This is the other side of the seminary. So you've got the word of God here. Here they're expositing the word of God here, but they're also so it's almost like which side of the master seminary are you on? Are you dealing with the master seminary on this level, or are you dealing with master seminary on this level? In my case, I came from here, and 25 years I've been dealing with them on this level here, and it's nonstop, right? So they, and with it comes these signs here, right? These signs questioning John's integrity, um, where you lose housing, you lose health, you lose a home. So this is this side here. You're either dealing with them on this level or you're dealing with them on this level. So they're not clean. So My prayer is that God, you would have mercy on both groups, whoever belongs to whichever group, and that you would forgive the sin, and that you would restore those who needs to be restored, forgive those who need to be forgiven, and judge those who need to be judged. So again, I want to show this to you briefly. You're either on this side or on this side of the